what is the definition of a child or an adolescent? Because when you were a kid, you couldn't wait to be a grown-up, but it looks like kids these days may need to wait a little longer. A new study from the Lancet says adolescence is ages 10 to 19, but actually it should run through age 24, meaning you'd officially be considered grown up at the age of 25. So they're saying, should we redefine adolescence up to the age of 24?
Did they talk to any parents about this?
I don't know.
Because does this mean we have to support our kids at home, like give them allowances and treat them like kids until they're 25 years old?
And the idea here is that we know the brain does develop well into your 20s. I mean, your brain actually evolves your whole life. But I'm fearful, because this gets back to the legal part for me, is if we start excusing every single behavior as, oh, they're just in their adolescence, and here you have a 24-year-old who's, oh, he'll grow up next year.
I worry too, Travis, about women, and you probably have thought about this too, Dr. Nita. Our childbearing years are 20 to 30.
Correct.
So if we are not even adults until we're 25 years old, that's just prolonging, you know, our abilities to have kids. If we push the age of adulthood to 25 years old, what impact that'll have on women who typically are having kids during the 20s to 30s.
That's very true. And I mean, you know, you brought up a good point before, like with supporting kids. And I think that's part of what they're thinking about. Like, it's about brain development, but parents are also kind of enabling kids a little bit more, because kids, like, it's the new norm to stay home when you're 25 or 30 years old, because you're still
more
getting on your feet.
education. And you know how expensive it is, the education, the tuition, living outside. There are more people
I don't want to
supporting
be
their
like,
kids longer.
You know, I don't want to be oppositional here, but 25's old.
That's
a whole,
you think it's off? I don't know, but I think
you need to, at some point in time, well before 24, I mean, heck, well before even 19. I know that's the traditional definition of the end of adolescence, but, you know, if we start saying, look, don't worry about it, just keep pushing it back, that's a problem, because, believe it or not, there's a dichotomy here. Kids are actually going through puberty earlier and earlier.
That's true.
Significantly earlier. So if that's occurring physically, and yet we're saying mentally, we're gonna just redefine what adolescence is, that means that kids are essentially gonna go through 15 years of their life as adults physically, but we're gonna treat them as kids mentally. I have trouble with that, and I don't know the answers. Legally, we really have to think about this, don't we?
Well, yeah, because that 21-year-old that goes out and commits a crime would have to go to juvenile court, because guess what? They're still an adolescent. And I don't know, as a parent, I'm thinking about
this just opens up a little bit of a can of worms, because they're going to take somebody, oh, well, they were a late developer. They hadn't found themselves yet. Therefore, we need to treat them as a child.
I agree, but you know, I think about some of the things you did in your early 20s, and like when you think back on them, you're kind of like, oh, maybe my brain wasn't quite what it is today.
Yeah, but even though you may not be fully developed as you are at 30 years old, I still don't know if we want to lump you into a category with 15-year-olds.
I agree.
That concerns me, because I don't want that 24-year-old hanging out with my 15-year-old.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
Really different.
Yeah, it is. It is a big difference. Yeah.
Drew?
Yes, doctor.
You're 67 now?
Yes, I am.
Dapper, debonair, handsome.
But I was going to say, we've almost been using the term adolescent in a negative way. Some of youthfulness is awesome. You've maintained some of your adolescent spirit, right? I think we can all agree that saying that a 25-year-old should be treated like a child is a bit of a mistake.